Super duty tough work. Back again. As per usual. Podcasting for the people. My name is Blueprint. It's my illustrious co-host, Illogic. How you doing today, sir?
I'm good, man. You know, just working.
Damn.
Made my first beat in a while yesterday.
How I feel?
Feel great. It was a good one too.
See?
You know.
Those are good days when you don't touch it for like a month or something. Then you sit down and you make a fire beat, the first sample you hook up.
Right.
Now, the opposite is also true.
Oh, yeah, it happens.
Because you don't make a beat for a month and the first one is whack as hell. You be like, man, fuck this. I'll come back in another month.
Yeah, I said this the first beat I made, not the first attempt.
I know what it made it to completion. It made it
right.
Right.
Only one that made it to completion last night. Like I've attempted over the last couple weeks and trash was coming out.
Yeah, that's real. That's real, man.
Not even save button. No save.
Ugh.
No save.
Yeah, I've been in one of those like, just get one. Because I have my periods where I be like 2-3 a night, 2-3 a day that are fire. That era is not happening right now. Now I'm in the just get one savable one every day.
Right.
You know what I mean? And we don't know if that shit gonna go nowhere, but if it's worth saving, it's at least solid.
Yeah, it's at least solid. But
yeah,
outside of that, doing good. July 12th, Marcel P. Black will be at Vibe Society here in Columbus, Ohio.
Y'all having rappers at the joint?
Yeah,
a rapper.
Rapper. You know, he gonna close out the joint. You know, Marcel's my dude.
Yeah.
Rappers. What's the tour? The Red Rov tour. Real MCs don't rap over vocals tour.
Okay. So there will be no rapping over vocals this night.
No rapping over vocals.
If there's anything we guarantee, it's that. You're not going to hear no rapping over the vocals that night. You either going to hear no vocals over the beats or rapping. You know what I mean? Not no background tracks getting played and dudes just lip syncing their own songs.
Nah, it's not happening. So, but yeah, that's going on. So, man.
Nice. Okay, well, we're gonna get this show started, folks. You know what I mean? We got a topic today. This is not a news story. This actually happened last month, or earlier this month in June, and the story is about Meth and Redman playing at Summer Jam in New York, and saying that the generation gap was too wide and they would not be back. And it caused some ruckus and some anger and some resentment from some fans who, younger fans felt offended by the comments, whatever. But I think if you're an older cat, you kind of understand where they was coming from with this. And so we want to talk about this hip hop generation gap thing that this story kind of sparked in my mind. So we'll take a break and we'll be right back.
Word.
We got you stuck off the realness, the most infamous, you heard of us. Official podcast murderers, the show comes equipped with viewpoints to share. Grown man ideas for all those who care and want to grow, so go ahead and download. Every single week with a brand new episode. You're not alone in this world, cousin, so we share information and honest discussion and keep repping the culture like we supposed to. They spread gossip, but they never come close to. I can hear it inside their tone. They talk about the industry but never left their home. You get laced up with bullet points and such, plus empowering topics that they never would touch. You can put your whole network against the team, but Super Duty Tough Work's the MVP. Most valuable podcast on MP3. Priceless info, but all of it's free. So take these words home and think them through. Super Duty Tough Work is coming at you. You are now listening to Super Duty Tough Work with your host, Blueprint. Raw and uncut. Adult conversations. No shucking, no jiving, and no bullshit.
All right, folks, we are back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint, Illogic. This week we're talking about the hip hop generation gap. You know, we're going to get it started with this story from Billboard.com. The title of the story is Hot 97 hosts react to Method Man allegedly saying he won't be returning to Summer Jam. The generation gap is just too wide for me, the rapper reportedly said. The article goes like this. Method Man has long been tied to the lore of Hot 97 Summer Jam, dating back to the Wu-Tang Clan's infamous performance at the 97 festival at the Meadowlands. But fans may not see Meth hit the summer stage again in the future. After performing on Sunday, June 2nd, at the 2024 festival on Long Island alongside Redman, the multi-hyphenate entertainer allegedly left a comment saying he was done with Summer Jam due to a generation gap. Not our crowd at all, he reportedly commented on a Hot 97 post about his performance. Thanks again, New York and the whole tri-state that showed up to the event, plus Pete and Ebro. I got love for you guys, but never again. At this point, the generation gap is just too wide for me, never coming back. The reported comment is not visible on the post. Billboard has reached out to Method Man's reps. Fans weren't happy with Method Man's alleged comments, and some blamed Hot 97 for not putting together a lineup that matched the authenticity of the station. Hip-hop icon Method Man is never coming back because as a result of watering down the bill and not gatekeeping hip-hop standards, you let anyone perform to keep up with the social media trends, one person tweeted. Hot 97's Ebro in the Morning Show reacted to Meth's reported comments, which have been making rounds on social media, on Monday, June 3rd, as they attempted to come up with a feasible explanation for the disconnect. It felt like the crowd wasn't used to seeing a real show, said DJ Cast One. They were kinda like staring in amazement. There wasn't booing or any of that. This is crazy. They're rapping. Co-host Peter Rosenberg said that the energy was different from Meth and Red set the day prior at the Roots picnic. The setup of concerts in general now, even we're inside now. The festival setup of many acts. I was at Roots picnic on Saturday. Red and Meth were on that too, he said. Yo, it was an incredible lineup. Cats were coming out freestyling on different beats. The full Hot 97 Summer Jam lineup at UBS Arena was a mixed bag of artists of various skill sets and ages, with not much of a tie from one to the next. Outside of Method Man and Redman, there were sets from Doja Cat, Sexy Red, Cash Cobain, 41, and more. NYC rappers Chef G and Sleepy Hollow were among those who didn't perform but were originally listed as a part of the bill following their endorsement of Trump in May. Check out Hot 97's footage of Method Man and Redman's performance below. End article. What do you think, Illogic?
I mean, this is a hard one because, you know, depending on the concert, you know, like they said, at the Roots picnic, it was a completely different vibe. You know what I'm saying? So it's all about understanding your audience and understanding where you're playing and understanding as a show promoter who you have on the bill as well.
Yeah.
So mixing Meth and Red with Sexy Red and, you know, Cash Cobain and even Doja Cat. I mean, Doja Cat can rap, you know what I'm saying? But Doja Cat is pop too. You know what I'm saying? So it's a completely different mindset of listener and a completely different base of fans. So I don't know who else was on the bill, but if Meth and Red were the only ones from their generation on the bill, the people at Hot 97 kind of hung them out to dry. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I can read the bill real quick for you.
Okay.
The bill starts at the top. I'll go from the top to the bottom. Doja Cat, Offset, Sexy Red. Then you got Method Man and Redman. Then you got Sleepy Hollow, Davido, 41, and T Grizzly.
Yeah. See, Meth and Red are like a sore
right
thumb.
In the middle. Yeah, right.
You know what I'm
middle.
saying? Like standing out like a sore thumb. Like you got to at least give them someone else that matches their energy and matches their time to make it even seem like, they're supposed to be there. Like the Roots Picnic had a nice mixture of the new with the old, so the fans are going to be there to see a little bit of everybody. Yeah, I think unless Hot 97 does like a throwback show or something like that, to where cats like Meth and Red are in company of their peers, then it didn't make sense to have them on there. They're awesome performers, but the people there to see all those other people weren't there to see Meth and Red. They probably think Method Man is just an actor. They probably didn't even know he rapped. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
that's the kind of generation we're in now. So yeah, I just think it was a bad move by the promoters.
Yeah, I'll read some of this Roots Picnic by comparison. The Roots Picnic was Jill Scott, Lil Wayne and the Roots, Nas, Victoria Monet, Black Thought, Method Man and Redman together, Scarface with Amarie, Fantasia, Money Long. You had Sexy Red on that bill too. You had Babyface, Wallow and Gilly, Wale, Robert Glasper, Cameron, Tyler, Smino, Marsha Ambrosis, Tasha Cobbs Leonard. I'm not familiar with some of these people. It looks like some DJs, but that was the main one.
Yeah.
Main one.
See, that's a nice mixture. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Of new with the old. Plus, they had the R&B touch in there too.
Yeah.
So it's a completely different vibe.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's a little bit of something for everyone. New school, old school, and everybody gets a little taste of. And it's the Roots. I mean, come on. You know what I'm saying? It's their event. So, it's going to be a good mixture of shit. But yeah, Hot 97 needs to, figure out their booking a little better. If they're going to have a Meth and Red type, artist on the bill, they need to mix it up a little more.
Yeah, I agree. What it makes me think when I read the story, I kind of was like, the first thought was, hey man, it happens to all of us at some point.
Yeah.
Like every single performer I know who does a lot of shows has played shows on bills that they didn't fit on.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes it can be an accident. Sometimes you just be trying something new. Sometimes maybe you got a relationship with the person throwing the event.
Mm-hmm.
And you like, you know what? Yeah, I'll give it a try because my man's put it together, but I don't know how this is going to go.
Yeah.
There's times when it works, right? Like there's a chance that this could have worked for them.
Right.
Because sometimes you can put together a set that just, is bigger than whatever genre you in, or pulls everybody in, or but it's very difficult to do.
Yeah.
Very difficult to do. And like, what I thought was dope was like they didn't get booed. People just stared.
Mm-hmm.
And that happens no matter who you are when you play in front of unfamiliar crowds.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? So sometimes if motherfuckers ain't familiar with you, they're not going to boo you if you rocking.
Mm-hmm.
They know if you rocking, even if it ain't they kind of shit.
Right. Yeah. That head going to be nodding anyway.
Yeah, they're going to be like, this ain't my shit, but them dudes is rocking up there.
Right. They kind of kill it a little bit.
Yeah. And so I got the impression that, and from the video I saw, like they was putting on a real stage show. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But, the crowd was just staring like, this don't fit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't think I don't think it's just Hot 97's fault. I think everybody plays a role in this thing kind of happening like this,
Yeah, because I'm sure Meth and Red knew the lineup. They said yes. You know what I'm saying? That check was probably, nice. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we're going to get into that. Because, there's a part of that maybe people who don't do this don't know. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
How these things happen. And so, we're going to take a break and we're going to come back with some bullet points and such about this. Be right back. This is your weekly reminder that we have 2 books that you, as a listener or watcher of this podcast, need to absolutely own. The first is The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists. And the second is The Social Media Cheat Code. Both of these books were released within the last year. The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop Artists is a book where I go through the stories and explain the traits that are behind the success of some of the biggest names in hip hop today. The book has got nothing but amazing feedback. And if you are an artist, business person, whatever you do, if you would like to be inspired and would like to learn more about hip hop along the way and also see some reinforcement of the concepts that we talk about on this podcast, The 10 Traits of Successful Hip Hop is for you. Second book is The Social Media Cheat Code. That is for everyone who listens to this podcast who does not consider themselves an expert or really good at social media. It's not for super experienced people. It's actually for people who are on social media but are not getting the results you need. So what we did is I broke down like 12 or 13 strategies that I use all the time that actually work really well for me. I put it into book. I gave you examples and I tell you how to implement it. That's a book you absolutely need as a listener to this podcast, watcher of this podcast. If you're on YouTube, supporting these books actually goes a long way towards supporting the podcast. So to support the show, if you like what we do, obviously we don't necessarily get paid to do this shit. So support the products and services that we create. And these two books are a big part of that. We appreciate your support, and back to the show. What's up, everybody? Got some big news to share with you all today. I'm proud to announce that for the first time, I will be opening up my artist coaching and consulting services to the public. I have been doing it for several years behind the scenes, helping artists and small businesses achieve their goals, but it's never been something that I made publicly available, nor anything that I promoted until now. So if you're an artist or a small business owner, I'm now available to be booked for one-on-one sessions designed to help you achieve your goals as quickly and as efficiently as possible. If this is something that you're interested in, email me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Tell me a little bit about yourself and we'll get the ball rolling from there. I look forward to working with you all. Peace. All right, folks, we back. This week we talking about the hip hop generational gap, and the story with Meth and Redman kind of saying they will never play Summer Jam again, ever. A side note, I do think they'll be back if the lineup is
yeah.
You know what I mean?
If the lineup is right, they just won't make this mistake again.
That's really what we talk about here.
Yeah.
So the first point I want to talk about is just like, is it a generational gap or is it a styles gap?
Mm-hmm.
Because like the way that Method Man kind of said it, the generation gap is too big for me. I can see why maybe a younger music fan might be a little offended by that.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it makes it sound like, oh, y'all just too young. The reason y'all don't appreciate this is because y'all young.
Right.
Or y'all don't appreciate this because y'all just don't know shit about this. Y'all like ignorance, or it makes it seem like that. But it's really, in my opinion, it's not that. In my opinion, it's just a styles gap.
Yeah.
Because you take a Method Man and a Redman and you put them on a bill with like a Joey Badass. You put him on a bill with like the Griselda cats.
Mm-hmm.
Those are cats that are younger but doing the style of shit that they did.
Mm-hmm.
It's night and day. It's night and day response. There are younger artists. Hell, even a guy like Illogic. You know what I mean? Like that. He's a mainstream guy, but he's still kind of like an underground sounding guy.
Right.
I know that Meth and Red have played with Atmosphere. They've played with Macklemore before. I never heard them come back and say it was a generational gap and they wasn't going to do it again.
Right.
But I think the difference there is that those people are used to that style.
Right.
And these people don't fuck with that style of music at all.
Right. And nobody else on the bill had that style of music.
Not one.
Not one. Not
a DJ. They couldn't even get him an opening act who kind of was, nope.
Yeah.
And they put him in the middle of all of that shit. Like not at the beginning, in the fucking middle. So people were just getting hit with that style. And then by the time you see this style, I'm sure it was probably a bunch of people rapping over vocals.
Probably everybody.
Right, everybody but them. They were probably the only people who didn't rap over their vocals in there. You know, it's just everybody else was probably just standing in the same place, didn't have no routines, start a song, stop a song, no DJs for any performances. I just think stylistically, that was the biggest gap to me. I think younger generation, especially those who listen to like underground shit or classic hip hop, they can fucking appreciate what Meth and Redman do, you know. And I would love to see the age demographic at the Roots picnic, because I'm sure the Roots picnic probably picks up a lot of younger people too, being a outside event, festival. You know, those draw younger audiences as well. And I would bet that, you know, it ain't crazy. It ain't like everybody at the Roots picnic is fucking 40 years old. You know what I mean?
Right, of course. Or they wouldn't have had Sexy Red there.
Come on now. They got, they're not, it's not all like old school artists, legacy artists. It's like, yo, we got some people on this bill that are like newer. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why not embrace that and just say, okay, well, it's not the generational thing. It's the style.
Yeah, it's not about age. With a lot of time, it's not necessarily about age with music. It is about style and preference. You know, I know some people, unfortunately, that are my age that listen to an NBA YoungBoy, that listen to, you know, some of these, you know what I'm saying? That listen, yeah, unfortunately, like I know some people that listen to that newer style, and you know, they know the older style, but they kind of dig the new stuff and they listen to it. It's not necessarily generational. It's just about what you prefer as a listener. So yeah, I think he, you know, took it a step too far, and I understand people getting offended by the generational comments. It's just more style, you know, like this is that bouncy down south, you know, kind of fast rap offbeat, you know, rapping over vocal stuff, and we do boom bap hip hop, and it just don't match. It just don't match.
No. At all. You know, and I know what they were trying to do. Like I said, like you and I have had shows, like I played shows with rock bands, you know what I mean? I played shows with instrumental artists with no vocalists, like metal, weird experimentational type shit. I've toured with Blowfly, old school funk parody, you know what I'm saying? 2 Live Crew rapping motherfucker. Like he's 70 years old rapping about, you know what I mean? All kind of raunchy ass shit. Blueprint was on that bill.
Right.
Never got booed. Never got, you know what I mean? Like there were nights when motherfuckers, you know, did not really fuck with me because they weren't there for that.
Right.
But overall, I tried to make sure my stage show could translate to that audience I was opening for. So there are times when it works. I played with I toured this band called Island. It's like emo rock band. You know what I mean? I've opened up for the Black Keys before, multiple times, you know, because they're from Ohio. Good dudes. It's one of those situations where like I definitely don't want to say it's a generational thing. I played in front of audiences where it's like younger motherfuckers ain't never heard no shit like I do. And they be like, yo, that shit is crazy.
Right.
We ain't never heard nobody like this. Okay. Because they not used to that style.
Right.
But when they hear you execute it a certain kind of way and they see it, it's like, oh yeah, I fuck with this. Even if they might just be staring the whole time. Like, what the fuck was that? Why you doing? When you done, they give it up. You know?
And it's wild because Meth and Red, they don't know if they gain new fans or not. Just because people were staring doesn't mean they didn't enjoy it.
You know exactly what I'm talking about.
Because I've had those situations where, you know, the kind of rapper that I am, sometimes people just stand and look like, what the fuck is going on stage right now? You know what I mean?
Right.
But I've had those same people that weren't clapping, that weren't singing along, that weren't even nodding their heads, just kind of staring, come to the merch table like this shit was amazing. You know what I mean? So Meth and Red don't know the impact that they may have had on some of those young people that were just standing there and staring, because they may not have ever seen anything like that. Absolutely. They may not have ever heard, you know, any of Red and Meth songs, or at least know them, or they just know them as actors and, you know, shit like that. So, you know, they never know what they actually accomplished doing it just because the reaction wasn't what they're used to when they're performing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Like you said, like because we're not as big, we're not playing arenas and shit. We get off stage in front of a crowd who stared at us, go to the merch table, and we can find out, like, okay, did people actually like this shit?
Right.
How's this merch looking? Am I gonna make some new fans? What's the word? They don't have that opportunity. I don't think they really got out there and necessarily made that a priority. Like, okay, if we're gonna play in front of new fans, we need to go and do whatever, meet and greets. We need to go to the merch table. We need to go boots on the ground, shake some hands, talk to some people to understand, like, did this hit? If so, did we pick up new fans? You just don't know. And then it's hard to tell too, because they don't have a new record out.
Right.
You know what I mean? So it's not like, let's say they dropped a single that week. If they would have dropped a new single, they had Roots Picnic, Summer Jam Picnic the next week. And it's like, okay, well, if that's the case, then these guys could have literally said, okay, well, on whatever music video they dropped, comments, hey, I just saw you for the first time at Summer Jam.
Right.
I just saw you at the Roots Picnic. Y'all killed. I heard this single. I was first time hearing you. Blah, 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 blah. I'm a fan. I don't think they have a mechanism for that really to happen.
Yeah. And I think also with Red Meth, me and Red Meth, they don't necessarily pay attention to that stuff as much anymore.
No.
You know what I'm saying? That, like, they have their fans and they're not even necessarily thinking about, you know, building new fans.
Right. But
you know what I mean?
But Pete, what you just said though, that's what's deep about what you just said. It's like, if they don't care, why are they on this bill? Right. This ain't the bill for keeping your existing fans.
The next bullet point is probably the answer to that.
Yes. So let's get into the second bullet point. And the second bullet point is that all money ain't good money. All money ain't good money. That just means that, like, you're going to get offered a lot of checks in life. A lot of money going to come your way, and you should not take every check. Every check comes with certain things that you may not be comfortable with. And to me, they took this show because of the check. Period. This wasn't no community service. This wasn't opening up for the homie who got an album release and you just don't fit that style, but you do it because he calling the favor. This wasn't no calling and no favors. Meth and Red got paid. I guarantee you they had a nice fat check for this shit. Like, ain't nobody ever got paid this much for people to just stare at them.
Right.
This is one of those, damn, they just stared at us for 45 minutes and we got paid. All right, we got paid this much. You know what I mean? Wasn't no complaints about the bag.
Right.
You know? And I think sometimes as an artist, you have to really, really be honest with yourself and say, like, yo, man, all money ain't good money. I could take this check now and it might create some situations that I got to go out there and clean up. Now Billboard is writing stories. Now people are mad. These younger fans are mad at Twitter because I said that they was too young for this shit, or it's like, you know, I made them feel a kind of way. But at the end of the day, you took the fucking check, man.
Right. Yeah. I mean, it's not really much to add to that. You know what I mean? There has been times when I've been offered things and I might have needed the money. But was the money worth my sanity? Was the money worth, you know, my self-respect in some instances? You know, it's when you get into this industry, when you get to a certain level, and, you know, I'm a nobody in comparison to a lot of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I've been offered some things. You know what I'm saying? I've been offered, you know, acting gigs. I've been offered all kind of shit throughout the time that I've been doing this. And there's some stuff that's just not worth it. You know what I'm saying? Like, no matter what it's gonna, you know, no matter what fruit is gonna come from it, you know, as far as fame and as far as money, sometimes it's just better to say no. You know, looking back on a lot of opportunities that I had that I did say no to, I'm so glad I did, because ain't no telling where my life would be. Financially, I might be okay, but mentally and family wise and shit like that. I may not have a wife right now. I may not, you know what I'm saying? Like there are certain things that were placed in front of me was like, if you take this, you might not be married in 6 months. You know what I mean? Like, but your bank account gonna look tight. You know what I mean? So yeah, there's often times where you gotta weigh sanity with the bag.
Yeah, and I think some people who are not in the entertainment industry might not be used to that dynamic.
Right.
Right, because in life, you just get a job. You work that job. You have a set of tasks. You agree ahead of time. You interview. You do all that. In music, in an entertainment industry, there's so many different types of bags out there.
Yes.
And you might be, like you're saying, you might be a rapper, a producer, but you can get offered gigs in any number of spaces within some entertainment. And some of them might not be some shit that's becoming that works for your brand. It might work against you long term. You might take a quick bag. Like, think about Mary J. Blige when she did them fucking was it Burger King? She did some fast food, and she was looking crazy out there, like singing about Burger King, and everybody's like, why Mary J. Blige doing this damn Burger King commercial looking crazy? It's hurting her brand. She needed the money.
Yeah,
that's why
was calling.
Yeah, because I bet that Burger King check was bigger than all the checks she had got at that point, or she would have took it.
Right.
You know what I mean? So she took that bag, as she should have, but what she didn't think about was, how is this going to impact my brand? And artists have to always think about that. And because, to be completely honest, these people out here who are maybe offering it to you, they don't care about your brand. It's not their job to protect your brand.
Right.
It's your job to protect your brand. So people are going to throw shit at you, and you got to have a discernment. And if you don't, you're going to be fucked up.
Yeah, very much so.
So yeah, that's number 2. We'll take a break and we'll be right back. Quick announcement. Over the last several years, we've been asked many times by the listeners of the show if we would ever open it up to the public for advertising. We've always been interested in this, but we never had the systems in place to make it work properly. I'm proud to announce that we are officially accepting advertising from the public on Super Duty Tough Work. Meaning, if you're a small business owner or an artist and you'd like to create more awareness about your product, service, or release on the Super Duty Tough Work podcast, we're now in a position to do that. For more information, email us at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Again, that's superdutytoughwork@weightless.net. Email us there. Tell us a little bit about who you are, what you would like to promote, and we'll get back to you as soon as possible to let you know if we think it's a good fit and what the next steps are. Thank you for your time. Back to the show. Are you an artist who has the talent to succeed, but has a hard time executing? Do you have the will to win, but lack the plan? Are you tired of having great ideas that never come to fruition, or starting new projects but never finishing them? If you answered yes to any of these questions, reach out to me at superdutytoughwork@weightless.net to book a one-on-one coaching call. Tell me a little bit about who you are, what you're trying to do, and I'll see if I can be of service to you. Have a great day. All right, folks, we're back. Super Duty Tough Work, Blueprint, Logic. We are talking about the hip hop generation gap today. And we're using this story, Method Man, Redman singing, "We ain't coming back to the summer jam, son."
That's probably how they said it too.
Yo, son, we can't do this shit again. You right, B. You right, B. You know what I'm saying? These young niggas, they don't know what it is, son. Right, son. Never again. Fuck Hot 97, son. Got paid already? Yeah, okay, cool. Let's get out of here. So number three point about this is music fans ain't dumb. And by that I mean, like, okay, these scenarios can work when you hop on these shows that ain't about you if you draw. If your people come out and they're in the front and they're like holding you down and they're singing along and they pay the money to see you too. But as we point out in this article, these dudes just played the Roots picnic, but the week before, a couple days before.
Mm-hmm.
If you a Meth and Redman fan, you gonna go see them at Hot 97 Summer Jam, or you gonna see them at the Roots picnic? Drive an hour away and see them.
Easily the Roots picnic, of course.
Yeah, I'm driving to Philly.
Yeah.
I'm driving to Philly. I'm not gonna go see these fools with. I gotta. You mean tell me I gotta sit through Doja Cat, Offset, Sexy Red, Sleepy Hollow, DeVito, 41, T Grizzly just to see Method Man and Redman?
Nope. And you know that ticket wasn't light either.
No. Very expensive. Or I could go see Jill Scott, Lil Wayne with the Roots, Nas, Scarface, Fantasia, Black Thought. I could go see all that shit. And Robert Glasper. What? A week apart? Yeah, I think I'm gonna go to Philly, man. Philly and New York ain't that far.
Right. It's an hour, couple hours.
Yeah, a couple hours away. I'm driving an hour and a half. I'm going to motherfucking Philly. And I think they underestimated that. Like, you know, sometimes you get on these bills, you think, as long as I draw, I know that my people gonna come out and hold me down. Mm-hmm. Not on this bill. People ain't crazy, and you play the show on a much better lineup an hour and a half away around the same time. So I think that, you know, we have to give music fans some credit here. Like, as artists, we think that, oh yeah, it ain't gonna matter, man. My people gonna come out. No, the fuck they ain't.
Yeah, not if they got a choice. If they got options.
No. And so motherfuckers didn't come out, you know, and that makes the difference. But again, they didn't get booed. It's just that their fans ain't dumb. Their fans waited, or their fans went and saw them in Philly. Like, I'm gonna go to Philly and see y'all. I'm not gonna sit here and sit through this bullshit. And it wasn't even outside, like they're saying, you know, it was like inside. It wasn't even an outside show. So I think that matters. And I think we need to really, when we make these decisions as artists to get on these lineups that may not be our crowd, we need to give the music fan, listener credit and understand that they're just like us, and they're gonna make decisions that we would make, which means that they might not come see us on these bills. So you really gonna be out of here. You know, you're gonna be playing in front of a crowd that ain't your crowd, and your fans ain't gonna come out. And so that's a powerful combination. But we got to admit that it's a real thing, and we got to, you know, move accordingly.
Yeah, because they should have, I mean, their management should have thought about that. You know, like, we playing an hour and a half away, a week apart.
Yeah.
Where are our fans really going to come to?
Yeah.
You know, and are we doing this just for the bag? Because if you're doing it just for the bag, cool, then there's no reason to complain afterwards. If you're doing it just for the bag. You know, you do it for the bag, you rock the show, you rock the set, nobody booed you. You know, they did kind of stare in amazement. Cool, I got my bag. We did our little 30 minutes, 45 minutes, whatever, got off stage, done. You know what I'm saying? But that Roots show, that shit was crazy. You know what I mean? Like,
exactly. It was a good weekend. You know what I mean?
It was a good week. We got 2 checks. One show really dope. One show was just for the bag. You know what I mean? And you got to think that, because I'm sure they couldn't have been naive enough to think that on a bill at Summer Jam, their people was really gonna be there and sit through all of that.
Yeah, that's a no go. Ain't nobody doing that.
Because the only person on the bill that some of their fans may like is Doja Cat.
Right. And there ain't no real connection. Yeah.
Yeah, no other connections at all.
And it goes the other way, like you're saying, it's that their fans may like. But you can't say that Doja Cat's fans and all these other groups' fans would like Method Man. There's nothing going back the other way.
Exactly.
You know? Yeah, that's but you know, they're not gonna admit that, like you're saying. They were just like, hey, they booking agent, hey, look, man, we can get you on Summer Jam and a Roots picnic in 1 week, man. A word? But the money looking like this much for that, this much for that. Who the Summer Jam with? Oh, such and such. It was like, what you think? Let's do it.
Yeah,
it's a lot of money.
Bag. Yeah, let's get that.
That's a nice bag. Let's do it. You know, but they can't say that in public.
Right.
You know, but that's really what this shit was about. So that's number 3. Then the last bullet point. Number 4 is know thyself. Everything ain't for everybody. You know, what we do as artists, sometimes we think that what we do can appeal to everybody. And so you end up with a lot of artists who are constantly trying to make things to appeal to people who they don't even be hanging out with, they ain't around, and they share nothing in common with. And they're not honest enough to admit that what I do isn't for everybody.
Right.
Same way that who we are in life isn't for everybody. You know, we can kind of admit it in life, like, hey, I'm a unique dude. I'm not for everybody. Everybody who fucks with me, you got to be a certain kind of person to fuck with me.
Right.
Same thing applies to art. We make art, and the art don't necessarily apply to everybody, and that's not a bad thing.
Mm-hmm.
It's okay to not appeal to everybody. You know, serving too many fucking masters, trying to sit around and think about what all these different groups of people would like when you make your music is torture.
Mm-hmm.
Make your art for yourself first, and then there will be a group of people who are like you, who fuck with it. Find that audience and make things for them. Don't try to concern yourself with all these groups and thinking that all these people can always like you. This story is a perfect example of everything ain't for everybody.
Right.
And when you know yourself, you will admit that. And then sometimes you will just either decide, hey, they ain't for me. And like you said, they would just take the bag and not complain.
Mm-hmm.
Or they would just not do the show and not take the bag.
Right. Right.
But you don't just take the bag and complain.
Right.
That's not the combination.
Yeah. Yeah, because they know who their fans are.
Absolutely.
They had to know, looking at that bill, ain't nobody really going to be there to see us.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? Like, because they're not as big as Doja Cat. They're not as big as probably some of the other acts on the bill that we don't even know of.
Right.
You know, they're probably not as big. So they should have known going into it that this was most likely going to be the situation. But we're going to do what we do, put on a hell of a show, and let the chips fall where they may and get this bag.
Exactly.
You know, and when you know yourself, you know the situations that you're walking into. You understand that, you know, yeah, I'm on this bill with these cats. People might not be into it, but I'm going to give them a hell of a show. Maybe we'll get some new fans. Maybe, you know, we'll turn them around, whatever. But I'm not expecting, you know, people to be jumping up and down and throwing their hands in the air as much as I would ask them to at a different kind of show.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. So yeah, so that's it this week. That's it. You know, the generation gap in hip hop. You know, the 4 bullet points. You know, generation gap, or is it generations? Is it generational gap, or is it styles gap? Point number 1. Point number 2 was all money ain't good money. Number 3 was music fans aren't dumb. They will wait. And number 4, know thyself. You know, if you are a creator, hope you got something out of this. If you're playing shows, hope this kind of helps you when you start getting these offers, because you're going to get some of these. You know, it ain't going to be Summer Jam, but it'll be something similar where you don't really fit. You got to decide whether you want to do it. And if you do it, you got to do it knowing why you're doing it. Get in and get out, and don't even complain about how it turns out.
Right.
And so that's it for this week. We'll see y'all next week.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to Super Duty Tough Work. Subscribe to the podcast on iTunes. Follow the podcast on SoundCloud. Peace.
Shoot, I got styles already that's more complex that nobody know about. I mean, super duty tough work, huh?